Hi guys, we are.
Back.
We sure are. How are you, brother?
Excellent.
Good. What did you think of the show I did with Anne Marie?
Yeah, I thought it was well done, excellent. You had me in tears, laughing so hard near the end.
Oh, with all the marriage thing. Yeah. That was
Yeah,
that. I was just having fun. That was. But the amount of comments and emails that I've got. Oh, you make a lovely couple, and oh, and I'm like, whatever. Yeah, but if you haven't watched it, guys, it's the one, the podcast previous to this. Harry didn't join us on that one, but it was fun. It was fun to do. We got a lot of information put out there, a lot of information. So
well, my understanding was that Anne-Marie wanted to interview you, so I needed to stay out to get that done. So
right, before we start, bro, why don't you tell everyone that little story that you told me, what happened to you today?
well, I was just on my way to get some gas for my car, and I pull up to the station, and as you start the pump on this particular pump, there's a TV monitor, and it plays commercials. It's just doing advertising, and it was a public service announcement, and the person on the screen said, "Do not text and drive. It is dangerous." And there was someone pumping gas right next to me, and she expressed, "Yeah, that's right. You know, that type of thing is dangerous. I know, it happened to me." And she says, and I was the one that was answering a text. And I thought, oh, so you hit someone. And I explained to her that just about, a few weeks ago, I was in a car accident where I was rear-ended while I was stopped at a red light, and probably had to do with some texting as well. But when we got started to talk, she was saying how, and I'm not going to use her name because I know she's going to watch this podcast, because we had started to talk, and she expressed her belief that this is all a fake realm as well, and that leaving this place, maybe just the county or the state, but could also be this world, would be something that she would look forward to. And I said I couldn't disagree with her, because this realm is nothing but a big charade. It's a farce. It's fake. And so I told her, I said, well, when you do die, the one thing before we die is we love everyone. And when we die, we do not go into, and before I could say it, she said it, the light. And I said, well, that's the devil's playground. That's what we talk about all the time. So the devil's playground too. And she wrote it down, and she said she's going to tune in.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, you just don't open up a conversation out of the blue with someone and get this deep in a matter of 5 minutes. It's just amazing.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, we welcome to all our new subscribers. Thanks for coming over and joining us. I'm still trying to get hold of or to pin Logan down from Decode Your Reality, but he put up a video, a short 5-minute video yesterday called "It Talks." I'm going to leave a link if you haven't seen it. It's only 5 minutes, but it talks about the it. That we talk about, the voice in your head. We talked about that a couple of podcasts ago. I think it was on one of the Joker podcasts that we did. So welcome everybody. So anyway, this week, guys, it's over to Harry. Harry's done this week's presentation, and it's pretty cool. I think you're going to enjoy it. So you want to get into it, bro?
Yeah, it's pretty light. It's not anything deep. It's basic. It's something that we all have to be a little bit aware of, now with all the craziness that's happening all around the world. We're seeing it in Australia. We're seeing it in, the United States. Our president's saying things that doesn't make a lot of sense. And hopefully, well, we saw what happened to you in that town you visited. You had that lockdown, so we're not far off anywhere we are. So let me share my screen here, and I'm going to do a presentation today on subtlety, kind of like when that frog is slowly going to boil in that pot. I'm going to call this "There's a Frog in My Soup," the Yehudin's version of Friends for Dinner.
Just for the new subscribers, or for the benefit of those that don't know, the Yehudins, if you go and look at their podcast called Meet the Controllers, the Yehudins are essentially the Genesis 1:27 biblical creation. Okay.
Yes. All right. So we all know the story of the frog that sits in the pot. So I have two that are having a conversation here, and the one says to the other, besides this new Jack Uzi, my new complex is offering free healthcare screenings and stickers to all frogs 12 and over.
Oh.
Now we know that we've done a podcast on Jack, and that was called You Don't Know Jack. So if you have a chance, take a look at that one, and you'll realize that Jack represents the human race, us, the ones that are going against this false god.
Harry, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did you choose this picture because of the time stamp on the cooker? or did you not even notice the time stamp on the cooker?
I noticed it. Noticed it. Okay. Yeah. And I also noticed the two knobs that form an 11.
Yeah.
Okay. So the boiling frog. A lot of times we read about this experiment, supposedly that the frog is placed into a warm bath, and it stays in it as the temperature rises and eventually is boiled to death. Well, some say it's true, some say it's a fable, but the story is often just used as a metaphor for the inability or unwillingness of people to react to or be aware of sinister threats that arise gradually rather than suddenly. I mean, if something happens suddenly, you would recognize it and you would react. But when something happens subtly, like the aging of a person, if you see them every day, you're not going to notice the gray hairs that appear or the added weight they may gain or the wrinkles. But when you haven't seen them in a year or a couple of years, it's obvious. It becomes something that you see it happen. But the
difference becomes noticeable when you haven't seen someone for a year or two. Whereas, as you say, if you see them every day, you don't notice the changes. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what's happening around the world right now. There's such a gradual change. It's happening in a slow manner with small alterations that are happening, every day. And then we don't notice this major change that has happened until maybe a year goes by and you wonder, how did things used to be?
Yeah.
Why? Well, because this is a comedy, this show that we're in, this world is nothing but a theater, and it's a stage, and it's called a divine comedy, just as Dante called it in his book. Humiliation and laughing at us is their method to control. They laugh at us when we wear our masks. They laugh at us when we go and get these stickers on our arms. And they use this jest or comedy, and because it's the preferred channel to create the detour or deter our understanding of what truth is. Entertainment or entering to detain the mind is the plan. This is also seen as in the ad hominem attack, where the character and not the content is ridiculed. So I'll come up with an idea, and instead of you breaking that idea apart through logic, you just say, "Oh, you're just an ugly motherfucker, and you don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, you're just an idiot. You're just an idiot. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not sensible enough to argue with your logic, so I'll just call you a fucking idiot and walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the entertainment aspect is they have to make your mind altered or controlled. And they do that with several different means. And I'm going to get into that in the next few slides. But one of the best examples that Dante uses in this Divine Comedy is the quote, "Midway upon the journey of our life, I found myself within a forest dark, for the straightforward pathway had been lost."
Yeah. And as I said to you before we started recording, I do a class at school where I have some kind of trick questions just to get the kids to think. And one of these questions is, how far can you walk into a forest? And the answer, I mean, because they're looking at it from their indoctrinated point of view rather than from a logical point of view. So nobody ever comes up with the answer. But the answer to how far can you walk into a forest is quite simply halfway, because then you begin to walk out of the forest. And all the years I've been doing this, nobody's ever got it. Nobody's ever got it. How far can you walk? How far can you walk into a forest? Halfway, because then you begin to walk out.
That's a good one. Even I, understanding the concept, didn't answer the question right. All right, we'll move on. Comedy is said to be a medicine for the soul, but in reality, this disgusting form of humiliating laughter is seated in malintent. Comedy is rooted in the Latin comer, or to eat. If you didn't know, anytime you hear the word comedy, you have to think of eating. And that's what these elitist, crazy individual Yehudins, that's what that's their play. Their play is to play out their part in this scripted, subjugating the masses into being hypnotized. Their goal is to put you in this state of unawareness.
Which is exactly what their daddy God told them to do in Genesis 1:28. That's exactly, they're just doing as they're told.
Yep, they're doing, and they love to show daddy that they are right on track.
Oh boy, do they just, yeah.
And here are just a couple examples right here of this hypnotic trance state that most humans are. We use religion. We know that religion in Latin means to bind, to rebind. And how they do that in the chapters in Deuteronomy, 1 Samuel, Psalms, and especially in Genesis. We see it when Isaac is taken to the mountain to be sacrificed by his dad, Abraham. Yep. Let's move on. Blood sports. Ancient times, the gladiators would fight to the death. They'd spill their blood on the soil. The soil would take the blood in and absorb it, and that was a ritual as well. Today's, maybe in the past, the prison systems, well, we use capital punishment. Capital punishment was an eye for an eye. If you kill someone, the capital offense, that would be a capital crime, so you would have a capital punishment. And as we're going to talk in the future podcast, the word ment is the mind. Yep. So we are going to punish your mind more than even your body. Social media or TV. Women are captivated by social media channels like what's one of them? I don't even use them, so I don't even know what they're called. But social media it just hypnotizes the women. They all just put pictures of themselves on there, and they compare which one is more beautiful than the other. For men, it's another competition. it's sports, and the one I'm going to pick on today is foosball, or I mean football. On TV, and the nights of watching football are Sunday, Mondays, and Thursdays, because you got the sun, you got the moon, and you got Thor. All three of those are too important, and they're going to play night football for men. That's another competition.
It's interesting that most sports, for the most part, are all played with balls. And in the presentation that I'm working on, we're looking at a ballroom. Why is it called a ballroom? It's understandable that an aeroplane cockpit. I mean, because probably 99.9% of pilots are male. But we're going to be looking at the significance between balls, as in sports, as in guys, and also the ballroom. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, that's a good connection. So when we look at all of these, I mean, comedy, religion is nothing but comedy. These blood sports, they were used as entertainment and comedy, because the people, the elitists, they would laugh when they saw someone lose their life. The prison system, I'm not going to say that's a comedy, but man, there's some crazy things that happen in that system. And of course, social media, the one I was trying to think of was TikTok. And that is nothing but a joke. So these are nothing more than mind-altering, addictive RX meds.
Well, you've got the connection, the TikTok thing. You've got the time connection there again, haven't you?
Yep.
The TikTok, time is running out. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's all mind games.
Yeah. TikTok, your time is up.
Yeah.
It's their time that's up. All right. So we talked about Abraham taking his son Isaac for sacrifice. But here we're going to look at how God really, how he looks at us when he says he is the all-loving God. We did a podcast on the 8 types of love, and one of the things we differentiated between is eros love, which is the love like a sexual love.
Well, the thing that I noticed, eros is the root of the word erotic. The word erotic comes from eros. So that's the kind of, rip your clothes off, the first time you meet someone when you're young, and, you just can't wait. So you rip each other's clothes off. But it's quite interesting that if you read the word eros backwards, it's sore.
Yeah. So if you got a queen or a fake man or a fake woman, whichever one it is, and they're exercising their lovemaking eros style, they will be sore at the end, of course.
Yeah.
But there are other kinds of love, like you love that steak that you're going to eat, or you love that chocolate cake. This is the type of love that we're going to be talking about now. I think this Old Testament God is just testing us for our level of faith. That's what he wants you to think. But in reality, is running a trafficking ring of his own where boys are traded for rams.
Well, you have the word meant again in testament, mind. It's all there.
Yes. So these boys are being traded for rams. And now they use rams for a reason, because we're talking about what these priests want to do with these boys. They want to use them as a ram, right? This story, to be rammed by a priest. That's the story. In a city that is 3 days' journey. Now, Abraham takes Isaac to a city called Golgotha, from where he started, is a 3-day journey. Why would he go that far? Well, this was the designated human trafficking site of the day. And Abraham knew it. He had to take him there because he had to buy a replacement for his son. He wasn't going to sacrifice his son. He was going to trade an animal and get another boy instead. And that satisfied the priest's desire. And that's also would satiate this bloodthirsty Yaldabaoth.
Well, again, look at the word Golgotha. Golgotha, as in together.
Yes.
Remember we broke down the word together. If you break
Yeah.
down the word together, it becomes to get her.
Yeah, to get her.
Get her. Yeah. And again, I was telling you earlier, I was playing around with a student who he's one of our new students, and he was talking about his father, and of course, the English, the Chinese word for father is baba, mama, dad and mum. And I said, you sure you're talking about your father and not your mum? He said, no, I'm talking about my father. I said, your father's a fat woman. And he's looking, and of course, all the kids are laughing. I mean, this guy's English is not so good, but you know what I was talking about. And he's like, what do you mean? You know, you're insulting my father. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not. I said, you're not talking about your dad. You're talking about your father. And he said, and I said, your father's a fat woman. And he didn't know what I mean or what I meant. So I walked up to the board and I wrote the word father as 2 words on the board. Fat, her. Your father's a fat woman, of course. You know, yeah, it was funny at the time.
Oh, yeah, it is. So when we look at this sacrifice story, we're talking about a God that wants human sacrifices where eventually they'll take this animal or this person and ritually chop it into pieces, get the best fat from that animal and put it as a burnt offering. Now, when this fat burns, it's going to climb into the sky and supposedly satiate the bloodthirsty Yaldabaoth. Well, in this news article that I added in here, we have a guy named Joe Metheny, and he made his victims into burgers and sold them to unsuspecting customers.
Yeah, well, how do we know that's real? I mean,
We don't.
again, we don't know. I mean,
We don't know.
Look at his name, Meth.
What about the date? I don't know if I included the date here. I did not. He was captured when one of his victims escaped. So here's what he was doing. He would go to prostitute areas of town, and he would find the drug addicted prostitutes, and he'd lure them back to his place. Now look at him. Does he look like he could lure anyone back to his place?
Well, he looks like a fat her. That's why I threw that in when I did, because he looks like a fat woman, a fat her, a father.
So he would take these women, he'd cut them up, and then cook them into sausages and grind them up and put them in the hamburger.
Yeah.
And he said that, oh yeah, they taste a lot. Humans taste a lot like pork. You can never tell the difference. And so he said that he was doing a favor to the community by getting rid of prostitutes and drug addicts. And he was captured in 1996, of which we know that's an encode for 999 or 666. If you take the 6s and the 9s and line them up. Yeah. And of course, we already know that the 1,000 years have been added. So that's that story. I'm comparing his actions to what this bloodthirsty God does. So this gives a new meaning to the phrase friends for dinner. Back in the 90s, we had that show, The Land Before Time, and the little dinosaur had just met a friend that was a different kind of dinosaur, and he was going to invite him over and have dinner. But everyone thought that he was going to invite him over so he could eat him. If you Google it and you find the video on YouTube, it's pretty interesting. It's just a couple minutes long, and the lyrics are kind of funny. So this is what we call the long game. The long game. But how long is the long game? That's the question we all want to know. When is it going to end? When did it start? Well, the long game that they're playing we are the pawns and they are the king and, well, I didn't call it the king. I called it the king and the queen.
The
Because
K.
we know, yeah, the king isn't really a king. And
No.
you have to know, in this game, everything is a charade. The queen is not a queen, it's not a female. And the king is definitely not a king.
Well, if you think of the alternative meaning or the slang meaning for queen, I mean, a queen would be could be a homosexual male, could be a drag queen. You know, they're telling us right there and then. And the king, what are you king doing? You know what I mean? If there were four kings, they would be four kings, right?
Four kings.
Yeah.
Four kings.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you say, it's a comedy, bro. It's all mockery.
It's all a big joke, of course, mockery for sure. So, how long is it going to last? That's the question we all want to know. Is it a year? A year reversed is re, and that in Latin is a king. And a reina is a queen in Latin. And you get the word re, reina, reign, or reign over, and put reins on to control. The sun's sun path to the right here gives you an idea of how long they plan to rule you.
Forever.
Yeah, that makes an infinity symbol. When you look at where the sun is placed throughout the year, this is the pattern that it makes in the sky when you observe it. So yeah, that infinity symbol pretty much tells you they want you here for a long time.
Yep.
All right, or how about this? Is it for 4 years, as in a presidential selection cycle? Now remember, it's not an election, it's a selection. They forget the S. So we got the 2 Bush terms, we got the 2 Obama terms, and then we have the 1 Trump term. And if you put them all together, you get between 19 and 20 years of time span. And what is that? 19 years is a metonic cycle. You are being eaten alive slowly and gradually and do not notice it. So if you wanted to know what a metonic cycle, it's a lot like this BS 19 that we've been fed. The 19 is there because that's the time period that a lot of this stuff happens. If you want to look at in this picture, there's a depiction of a 19-year metonic cycle and its connection with the Julian dates and the Easter new moon. And you can look this up if you want to Google it. Over here, I have a picture of a cartoon of the Archie and his gang, and Archie's taking a picture of Veronica here. And Veronica's asking him, and oh man, he's excited. She says to him, Archie, are you getting the surfboard in this picture? And he says, surfboard? What surfboard? He is so captivated by her beauty, he is turned on. Humanity as a battery, charged by the sun to get turned on and get the juices flowing in the spine. Well, and we all know that spine has a, if you change the letters around, it is penis. So what they're telling you is really about the penis, not the spine. So what does the body do when it is excited, when it's running? This is what the organs say. Let us go. You monster, you said this cage was to protect us. I taste blood. Now, do you remember when the Mr. T wanted to build that wall? And everyone was arguing here in the United States, oh, build a wall, keep those people out, protect us. How do we know that that wall wouldn't have been to cage us? A lot of people said that, but you know.
I agree, definitely.
This is where we find out if we are worth our weight in salt. And that's the sol and because sol means sun in Latin. And we're going to see here that cell means salt in Latin and is the homophone of cell, which we're trapped in English. I just wanted to add this in here. A lot of people are complaining about not feeling well, that they think that they've got some stupid Sharona illness. Really, it's just about grounding. You know, people are stepping on concrete, wearing rubber shoes, and what happens? They're not grounding. They're not able to discharge the electricity in their body. And so what that does is it thickens the blood, and then what happens, and you start feeling some of these things. You have if you do ground though, you have a decreased pain and less inflammation. You reduce stress, you improve circulation, and you improve your immune response, and you speed up your healing. So that's just one thing to probably help people from the effects of the flu that's really going around.
Yep.
So subtlety. Subtlety is the name of their game. The there is, we're talking again, of course, about the Yehudans. Today, it is a jab for the new flu. Next, it's a jab for that airline flight, even a domestic one. Or maybe the next one is a jab just to go to the gym, or a jab just to drive and go visit someone in another state. And then maybe there's another jab to go to the supermarket, or even just down the street to buy whatever you need, or just to get out of your house. These subtle changes in increased restrictions are no different than the slowly boiling, warming boiled water pot. And you are on the menu to be dined upon in this divine comedy. They are laughing at us the entire time. Are you ready, Nigel? Are you ready for a cyborg eternal life?
Not a chance, brother. Not a chance.
All right. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about today, because a lot of people are just not aware. They're not aware of what's happening. Slowly but surely, we're losing our freedoms, and we're losing them based on someone's promise that they're going to protect us. Are we being protected? No,
that's
we're
what
not.
the whole thing. That's what the whole thing's all about. It's always about your safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're here to protect you. Where in reality, there's nothing to be protected from.
Right. This is an invisible terrorist. In the past, we talked about, bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, weapons of mass destruction. Well, we've learned that there were no weapons of mass destruction. But this new method, this invisible terrorist, this terrorist can take on the identity of whites, blacks, any minority, whether you're hetero or homosexual, because if you're not covering your face with a muzzle, then you're the enemy. You're the terrorist.
I've got a buddy here who's from the UK, been here a long, long time. He's a journalist. And they've just had somebody join his office who's come over from Thailand. This guy's been working in Thailand for the last few years. He said Bangkok has been locked down for 18 months. The only places that are open are the supermarket, because the BS19 doesn't need food. It doesn't go to the city. It's scared of the supermarket.
Yeah. It hasn't been invited in, just like Dracula, right? It hasn't been invited in.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, this is a whole what's the word I'm looking for? We could expand on this so much on what you put together there. I mean, the presentation that I'm working on would be a perfect follow-on from what you've just presented. So maybe we'll do this as a part 1 and a part 2. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, we just got to be careful. The words we use. I've been very careful to never use anything close to covidius minimus, something like that. So
yeah, we do. But yeah, let's do this as a part one, and we'll I'll get this this other PPT finished tomorrow, and we'll get that up the next day.
Yeah.
We'll do it on Sunday. My Sunday, your Saturday, my Sunday. All right. So as always, guys, like, share, subscribe. Leave your comments below. We always read them. We've been having a few problems with comments disappearing, and people are saying, "Oh, did you not see my comment?" What happens is I see them in the sidebar in the notification, and click on it to read it, or to give it a heart or a reply. Gone. And of course, some people think that I'm ignoring them. No, I'm not. It's just the algorithms playing around. So if you comment, I will. I've read it, because I'll give you a red heart. Oh, and the other thing, for the benefit of the new guys, certainly on this channel, if you want to drop a link to anything, say, hey guys, have a look at this. You need to make a comment. Then you need to wait for a response, either from me or from Harry, and then you can drop the comment with a link. All right. If you come up and leave a comment with a link, then it will not show it. We won't see it, and that's not us. That's them. That's them. So, just hi guys. I want to show you something. I want to post something, and yeah, please go ahead. Then you can post it. Okay.
And then remind everyone about the VPN too.
I can't share the screen, so we'll do that on the next one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.